Oh, sorry about that. There we go. It's very late. Hello, anyone that's watching. It has been quite the week, so why not? I said I would never do another one, but there we go. My hands are racked. That is, I took a chunk out of my nail and my finger on my disc sander. I managed to stab myself with a putty knife, scraping something off a 3D printer. So it's various other cuts and bruises and things. But why not put some Dalek together? So I'll probably end up changing the thumbnail. So this Dalek is supposed to be the gold one from the second Peter Cushing movie. So gold with silver. I haven't decided if I'm going to actually print the silver slats. I think I might. And yeah, we'll see. We've got a new piece of MDF down here because the old board had finally given up. But there we go. So it's been a bit of a hectic week at work. It's not very jelly at the moment, this glue, so I might have to give it a bit of a shake. It's quite runny. But I've been the only tech person at work this week, so it's only 3 days in. First 3 days back at work. Lots of people coming and going. I am absolutely exhausted as well to be doing this, but I'm also having quite a terrible time sleeping, so this is something to do in that time. Adding to the woes of sleeping that everything currently hurts. There we go, that's more gel-like. Everything's aching from stubbing toes and falling over things and cutting myself on things, and it's been a bit of a raucous deal. And I would say not having anyone to shoot the breeze with at work has been a bit weird. I always thought I was a very solitary kind of person, but got no one to chat to during the day. It's a bit of a, you get no one to sort of, I think it's a thing about any way of working. You get no one to sort of unload your minor frustrations with, your mutual minor frustrations, I should say. So that's tricky. So I just thought I'd see how many of these I can get placed. And I'll try and get that one on like that, and clamp it down together, and see. Hopefully my sort of hands aren't too moist, and the things kind of vacuum stick to my thumbs, and then I can't get my fingers off them. But I'm just waiting to use up the rest of this glue. The other thing is I want to use this up because I want to use the nice glue that James Finger sent me. So I will have to do another one. One of my bosses is a bit of a Doctor Who fan. Saw the project's Dalek related stuff from the break, and has hinted that there might be a commissioned model in the works that he might like to have. But whether or not he was just being nice about it, or whether or not it actually turns out to be, a build that he actually wants, that would be fine. I mean, I generally only ask for the money to sort of pay for a little bit of time and a filament. The commission of the big red one, that's basically covered the cost of the filaments for all the others. The filament and the cost of all the others then helps to offset the cost of exhibiting at the local show. You think 10 seconds isn't a very long time for glue, and then you kind of, I don't know, I always seem to really misjudge it quite grossly in either direction, but 10 seconds feels like it should be really quick, and then it turns out that it isn't. And I'm trying to decide on the lights. I do have, sorry, I'm jumping on topic. I don't have any sort of amber tinted or orange filament. I do have gold filament, and I wonder whether gold lights in this color gold would look okay. The other thing I do have is I have some clear filament, but I thought I might customize this one a little bit by actually designing some, well, in Dalek terms, they call them beaker style lights, which are what they used in the movies. They basically got some picnic beakers and put them over the top of the lights just to make the lights stand up a little bit bigger. And because they're available in most of the key colors. So this guy had some sort of yellow, ambery, orangey type beaker light. So I'm wondering whether maybe just doing some clear ones would look okay. Or maybe even some clear ones. And if I could get something amber or orange to go in the middle of it to maybe look like it would glow. Maybe I can get some hollow ones and put something inside. Yeah, there's no room for me to be able to put LEDs or anything in, unfortunately, but worth thinking about. Because I don't know. I don't think this is going to become one that goes to the Bum Fudge Spectacular. I think this one might be one that I just keep. Just because I like this particular one. I always liked this one in the movie when I was a kid. So this is like the big boss man Dalek on the flying saucer. So maybe I will keep this one. I think I'm slowly getting better at this whole sort of pushing on and clamping and holding down for 10 seconds. I just have to remember that when I do that, the glue drips down in the bottle and it sort of unmixes. And just as I was about to live stream, the camera actually pulled out of the little boom arm that's attached to the shelf above the bench. So I had to frantically try and put that back in. Maybe the last, I mean, this might not be the last one, because I had an idea that I'd seen someone do a Pride Dalek and it was all sort of multicolored and stuff, but I see glue's gone off and I hadn't got it on there. And nothing about pro or anti, you know, pride or rights or any of that stuff. But I thought I might do one out of all the different leftover bits of color that I've got and just print pieces in different colors. And if it sort of ended up a bit rainbowish, good. And if it looked interesting enough that somebody would go, hey, that's really cool, I'd like to add that to my collection, good. And if not, oh well, can only try, can't you? So, you know, it would be a rainbow Dalek, but it would still include, you know, grey, silver, and black and gold because I have those colours. But I've also got a bit of yellow, a bit of multicolour. I've got some, I think I've got some red. I think I still have a bit of Makita blue. I've got some clear. So I just thought print it in a heap of different filaments and see what happens. You know. So any slight sort of twist on these, and they will detach very quickly. But it's starting to look okay. It's, yeah, I think it'll be a nice. See, this one, that one has just started to move under my thumb, so that will fail. That glue joint will not hold. You've really, when you're clamping it, you can't move it at all. There is no flex in it. So we'll come back to that later on, because this one that I'm currently holding will fall off. Guaranteed. Because I've been gluing on that side, I should actually probably keep going. So this side is sort of gravity assisted. And these might be the last two I get on there tonight. Who knows? Oh, see, I've just twisted. I just twisted my thumb again. That'll be another one. Sort of you maneuver the skirt or your thumbs, you put a little bit more pressure on one way than another. And apparently my virus scanner says that I've currently got fake websites up. And this is the only website going, so YouTube, do better. I did buy I bought a wood burning kit when I was away, because I wanted to try plastic welding these pieces together with heat. And this is going to take way longer than 10 seconds. It's not that it sets in 10 seconds, but it kind of loses its ability to bond with things. It's almost like the top skins over and it's not sticky anymore. And even if you spread it out, it's kind of, the sticky bit is sealed in. But it's a start. I really wish it was Friday right now. I'm hanging out for it to be Friday. Now that little blob is the universe telling me that I was not ready by having a hemisphere out. So that's why it did that. Oh yeah, there's some more. And some other glue. And a sanding block. What else has happened? I've just ordered some fiberglass resin for the Dalek skirt. The plan is that I'm going to fiberglass up the seams on the inside so the struts can be taken out, and basically the skirt can then get cut to size to fit over the top of the wheelchair, because it's for a pre-existing build. And then that's me done. I'm not really involved in the finishing of it. I'm not involved in the, I'll help maybe mix up some filler for in the seams and stuff. But other than that, it's down to the other person to go on with it. And that's not to try and sound like mean or anything. It's just the way it is. I'd like to get back to mine, selfish as that sounds. But yeah, I think what I'll do, I'll finish this row and then I'll leave the skirt for a little bit to start curing overnight, and I might just have a go at tacking on the head sections and maybe the lower shoulder collar. To sort of very carefully release the pressure on that. All right, one more. That's probably quite a big loop, which will leave a little ring around the bottom. Okay, so we'll get that, and then this part will come into play. And we'll see how this goes. Also need to put the silver back in the printer, because I think the eye stalk should probably be silver. I mean, I know it's not a full accurate representation of said movie Dalek, but I think it'll look quite good with its sort of silver and gold appearance. I'm going to tip the whole thing up. No, I won't do that. Don't do that. I think it'll look okay. So it'll only be a very brief stream. I can actually stick that on and not worry about the Now I'm trying to think, if I put glue on there, it'll wipe off up there. So I'm actually better to put glue on here and have that sort of wipe it down, I think. Shaky, shaky, shake. Okay, let that set, and then tomorrow night I can just turn it up and do the other one. Then let's do some of this. Now the head comes off one of these ways. We moved into our new building this week. Well, I didn't move in. Well, I sort of moved in. I suppose my pigeonhole and the staff toilets are in the new building, so technically I've got something to do with it, but that's okay. Oh, hello. There it is. A. Right, let's just give that a little shake, shake, shake. Flip that up. It's always nice to go to a new thing, I guess, a new building, if you can. I think it's probably the first. Every time I've been in a school and there's been a new building, I have had zero involvement in it. So I have not had, you know, I've never had like an office in a new building. I've never had a classroom in a new building. I suppose all buildings were new buildings at some point. That counts. Just not mine. Go for it. Just send it. Okay. Clamp that down for 10 seconds or so. Somewhere in there I do have an eyeball, but I need to think about what to do with the lights. So it's just a very long week. And term 4 is very condensed. There's a lot that goes on. It's shorter. There's the pressure of, end of year reporting and that stuff happening. Or our sort of management leadership team wouldn't say it's end of year reporting. They'd say it's second semester reporting. So there's just lots of stuff going on. And the dawning of really wishing you had done more during the break, but the reality of during the break you were actually thoroughly exhausted and spent from the term that preceded it. But yeah, I always feel guilty when you take a break. And Wednesdays are very stressful. I always find Wednesdays stressful this year. It's my day to stress out over things. That's not going to be enough. That one is going to come off. Faux shizzle. What else should I do? I should probably reload the ender. Maybe I'll reload the ender with silver. Prepare. I was quite interested to watch Angus at Maker's Muse last night talk about how the Ender 3 isn't the ideal beginner's printer. I suppose it really depends on what a beginner wants. I mean, yeah, when I first got a 3D printer, I did not want an Ender 3 because it came in too many pieces. So I bought a CR10. The CR10 at the time was, I think I got it for just over $500, and the Ender was 300 and something, 320, I think, or 350. So it wasn't a big jump in price. But having had the CR10 for a couple of years, I bought an Ender 3, and I just bought the basic, no frills, cheap version for just over $200 Australian. And it's been a workhorse. It really has. In fact, touch wood, it has not needed anywhere near the amount of coaxing, persuading, and encouragement that the CR10 has needed. It really has just worked. And so my thinking for a beginner's 3D printed, it's low cost. Yeah, I think it's pretty much the cheapest entry level printer you can buy. It's got quite a good build volume. Parts are ubiquitous, they're just everywhere. Parts are inexpensive. There is a huge knowledge base. I don't know what more people would want in a 3D printer. Like, it's very hackable if people wanted to go down that route. But if you wanted to go down the route that I've gone down of just use it, it works. And there's so much knowledge out there that anything that's gone wrong with one, people already have discovered. Someone already knows what it is. So there's that. So I do have quite a lot of silver left. So maybe there'll be more silver things being done. I might have to find some other kind of silver monstrosities to do. It actually needs to be a little bit warmer. Control temperature at the nozzle. There we go. 208 degrees. Whereas the $1,000 Adventurer 4 at work today was mid-print, and the extruder, even at 215 degrees for PLA, pushed off the nozzle. So there must be a hell of a clog in the hot end somewhere. And now, when the nozzle isn't plugged in, you can't heat it. So what do? You've got to pull the whole thing apart. Annoying. I think it's annoying, and that's I think it's currently a $1,400 printer. So I wouldn't say that's necessarily a great beginner's option either, because it's, and I hate the term cheap and cheerful. It's exactly what an Ender 3 is. If you were, and when I say beginner's 3D printer, I think about somebody that goes, I might want to get into 3D printing. I don't want to spend a lot of money, but I want to test the waters to see if it's something that I'm interested in. Well, that screams Ender 3 to me, or any of the, the Ender 3 clones out there. What was it? The Anycubic Cobra 2 or the Frozen Cobra 2 or something? That came out on sale earlier this year for $199 Australian. Like, fine. It's an i3 style open frame clone, very similar to the Ender 3. My argument for having an Ender 3 is that there is more knowledge. It's like the biggest selling 3D printer in the world. So if there is a problem, someone has probably had the problem before and solved it. So I don't see that as a negative. I think that's a very good reason to want one. Yeah, it's got loads of annoying things. The SD card slot definitely gets me. There's a little slot on the front of the printer, and I nearly almost always get the slot in between the card reader and the card slot and the printer frame. always. Now I'm just going to disappear for a moment. Well, I'm not disappearing, but I'm going to switch tabs while I just change the printer thing so I can print the eye stalk and eye shaft. And I'll have 2 of them. I wonder if I should print a spare, considering it'll print in 16 minutes. Yeah, go on. Multiply. Oh, I don't want 56 of them. I want 2. Okay. And I've been changing the G-code name on these SD cards to just say Dalek eye stalk or Dalek shoulders, so that I know if it's prefaced with Dalek, it is this model, and it is a single one on that G-code, like on the print bed. So I won't suddenly go, oh god, I've got like 4 Daleks worth of hemispheres. Will I get it in? Nope. I'm just finding the SD card slot. It's quite unbelievable that it happens, but there we go, I've got it. You wouldn't think that would happen, but it does. Hello, one viewer. And if you're viewing this later on, hello to you. Dalek eye stalk. The stream will probably finish before the print finishes. What did it say? The print will take 31 minutes. I dare say the stream will finish by then, because it will be 11 o'clock at night, and I will probably be tired enough to want to go to bed. But in the interests of creating content, because it's been a few days, I will continue. Sorry, I'm shaking the glue. Interests of trying to keep things upbeat and interesting. Let's crack on. A few more. See, I've got a couple of odd blue hemispheres and stuff around the place, so I could. That's a better view, isn't it? Sorry, you've all been looking at a very disjointed view. So I've got some other hemispheres and parts in there, and I'm just kind of keeping all the spares until such time as it becomes necessary to use them. So anytime I print something like, something small, I'm trying to print a couple of them, because I think that'll be handy for when I get to do the spare parts Dalek. Nope. Doesn't want to reveal your secrets to me, tube of glue. There we go. I have a good feeling now. I think this will be it. There we go. There it comes. There it is. Beautiful. See, that's why I got this new piece of MDF. Which reminds me, I've got to take a new piece to work, because a student is making a box as their project on one of my classes. Everything's based on boxes, and today, after they needed to trim down the side of their box, so I trimmed off the width of it with the table saw at work, which is a teacher only tool, and I said, have a look at the length of it. If you need to trim it, either ask me to come and trim it at the table saw, or trim it yourself on the radial saw, where you can have a bit more control and you can make sure the cut is square. Well, the student today decided he wasn't going to trim it on the radial saw or the table saw. Instead, go over to the disc sander and then basically make a meal of it. But it was also slightly relieving, because this student likes to comment that I've got all the tools but no clue, which I do feel sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I often feel that way. But then again, I did suggest the way to cut it to keep it nice and straight. So I found a piece of 6mm MDF for the bottom of that person's box, and I'll take it in tomorrow and we'll cut it again. You know, yeah, I don't aim to act like a dick, but I also aim to not have anyone else, call me a dick. But I get, it's the age where young people want to try their own ideas, and I suppose if I was being an absolute dick, I would say, oh well, you can just use it the way it is, but I don't want that project to suffer because of that. So, part of doing woodwork or any of that kind of stuff, any kind of making, is you want to show people how you can fix things, or at least let them make their mistakes. And a short offcut of MDF that came out of the offcuts bin is not a big loss. It wasn't like 3 meters of jarrah was cut down the wrong size or something, so that's okay. All right, see, that one's gone again. It's as soon as you I think I'm getting low on the as soon as it wiggles, I'll push it on like that. But this might be a sign that it is time to stop for the night. But I might see if I can maybe glue the base on. Maybe that would be a good way to finish. Maybe just being able to set that nice and evenly on the base would be a good way to finish for the night. Because the base will help hold everything nice and flat, I think. So I think that's a good idea. Oh no. It's going to take more than 10 seconds. Help! Oh, there it is. Alright, I daren't move it. But what I will do is I will get a stick, and I'm just going to... Oh, good shot. I'm just going to try and clean some of this excess glue off. Just so I don't get big blobs. It's not much of a cleanup, but it's something. Alright, well, there you go. About 5 minutes after I said the stream would probably finish before I did. I think I'm probably at that stage. There's not really an awful lot I can do. I've got the next section drying. I'll make sure to measure these and make some bigger dome lights. I'm thinking maybe clear. I think clear filament would look okay. Can't really, I suppose if I got, I don't know, maybe this will look a bit wanky. But if you think like a clear filament will probably look a bit like that, and if I sort of had that on there, I think that would look okay. Sort of, what do you imagine that? you know, as a biggish light. I think that would look like a light. I think it would look better than white filament. So I'll probably do that. In fact, let's get a measurer, get my calipers. Everyone else at school had that PE teacher that like loved doing the fitness stuff, and you know, if you were podgy at school, they got out the body fat calipers. They were great. That would be one of my least favorite memories of school. So it says they're about 6.7 millimeters. So I'll make mine 6.5. So there's a bit of tolerance. And I think probably, trying to sort of gauge how tall, I think probably about, I think about 10 millimeters tall would be nice. In a smallish, you know, profile. So I'll draw some up in Fusion, 6.5 by 10. And we'll see what they're like. They might look okay. So that's sort of, I don't think, have I got any? Oh, there you go. I've got paper I can draw on. So the dome style lights. Oh look, I've got a new mechanical pencil from the local department store that only sells everything in their home brand. So they're kind of they're sort of a beacon style thing. They're just kind of like that. So if I did basically a what would I say, like a trapezoidal type shape, an elongated trapezoid shape, right? But I did it with a build line straight down it, get rid of that. And then I did this, so if it's going to be 6.5 down here, it's going to be 3.25 along there, and that's going to be 10. And then I do a revolve around that build line, and then I can scrub that out. And when I've made that a solid, then I can also radius off those corners and that top edge a little bit, and then I can flip it upside down and I can shell it out inside, so it will just be a cylinder that prints. Hopefully it will print all right. You know, the overhangs in here might be a little bit of a pain, but you know, I suppose I could always print them solid anyway, just with very few perimeters, or very little infill anyway. But yeah, then you kind of get this kind of effect inside, and then if I, you know, needed to, something orange could go in there. So yeah, I think that'll be the plan. That's how I'm going to design it in Fusion, and hopefully it'll work like that. I've only done revolves. I think I did it once when I did the it's an upside down version of the toothbrush cup, basically, with some more fillets on it. So yeah. All right, I'm yawning. That's a good start. So, I was just wondering, did I move that? I've got this horrible feeling that no, I made the files away from each other, so that is good. All right, I'm off. I'm going to go and try and get some sleep. Bye all. Oh, I should say, not yet. I should say, join me Saturday for a proper live stream. It might be in the full workshop, or it might be back in here. I'm not sure. But hopefully by then, this will either be finished or I'll finish it off in that stream. So take care.